So I'm Olivia, and this is White Rabbit Journeys. I offer quantum healing hypnosis sessions, both online and in Berlin. And this is just a little video to go over a couple of questions that get asked regularly. And so this might be helpful in, knowing whether a session is right for you and just clearing up some things that you might stumble across or thoughts you might stumble across. So people ask if it's going to be scary or if it's going to be too much. And the answer is that your higher self or your subconscious is never going to give you more than you can handle. Let's say 95% of kind of healing situations is, if it's done in a intentional way, if you're, putting in certain protections, calling in protection from your guides, from your teams, everything, then you're totally safe, and there's nothing that's going to come up that will be too much. You will only be given what you can handle in a day, and if there is more to the story, then you'll get that information over time after a session. So whether that's in dreams or in meditation, or maybe in a follow-up session with me or with someone else. And so you don't have to worry about that. You'll only be given the themes that you can handle. And often whatever comes up in that day will be almost like time linked to roughly the same time of year in other parts of your life. Another question is the language. So if it is your second language, English is your second language or German is your second language, it doesn't really doesn't make a big difference. A lot of the information and the experience that you're getting is through your intuition, through imagery, through feelings. So even if we don't both speak the language perfectly of the other person, I'm fluent in English and German, but for example, Spanish, I'm far along, but I'm not 100% there yet. But you're still gonna get the information that you need, and you'll get the messages. You don't have to be 100% fluent or 100%. You don't have to be a native speaker of the language to do it and for it to be beneficial. People ask whether it is better to do it in the same location or to do it online. Some people can be a little bit hesitant about doing it online, which I totally understand. I wouldn't have been comfortable doing my first session online, or it wouldn't have occurred to me, because I really needed kind of that physical space and to meet the person in real life and to have that trust. But it totally depends on you. If you've already had experience receiving healings online, or you've done these kinds of sessions before, then it's definitely absolutely no problem to do them online. And even for someone who's doing it for the first time, like if you feel drawn to do it with me and you feel drawn to do it online, then it's gonna work really well. And I've done a lot of online sessions with people that I, met somewhere, maybe during traveling, and then we weren't able to do it until later, so we did it online, but we already had that sense of trust. And the benefits of doing it in person is, of course, that you're in the same space. I prepare the space for us, I make us tea. The benefits of online is that you don't have to travel to me, you don't have to travel afterwards, you're already in your safe space, your own bed, or your own couch or sofa or whatever, and that you can just kind of drift off and think about what the experience was like in your own four walls immediately afterwards. But yeah, the effect, regardless of online or offline, is the same. There isn't a difference in quality in that way. It's just a question of what kind of experience do you want to have around it. How to prepare for a session: eat a big meal, drink plenty of water, avoid caffeine and drugs, alcohol also. It can be helpful to have a meditation practice already, but it's not a must. It just kind of makes it a little bit easier for certain people to kind of slip into that state of mind. And then I ask people to bring about 10 to 20 questions that they have around any theme in their life. And we go over those before the session, and then they play a role in the part where we get in contact with the subconscious or this higher self. For an online session, you do need a little bit of extra prep, and that you just need to have some headphones that are good and that possibly have a microphone on them. You can often, in that state of mind or in these sessions, the person who's receiving the session can talk quite quietly. So it's really good and important to, have some good earbuds that maybe also send me your voice. How often can you get these sessions? After my first session, I needed about a year to integrate the information. And so I think I kind of just instinctively knew that it wasn't needed to have another one. And I didn't have any new questions yet. But now, I would say, I feel like every 6 months is quite nice, at least in my case. It gives me some time to maybe have new questions around my life. Some of my questions have gotten more multi-dimensional, so they'll be more about like how something works, how do crystals work, do fairies exist, what's going on with the pyramids, it's kind of questions that are a little bit more out there. And it's become a lot easier to slip into that headspace, and it gives me kind of a really good insight into what themes are relevant in my life at the moment. So my very last session, which was maybe 2 months ago, the themes were a lot about community, about connecting people, about kind of like creating a web and understanding how to bring different people together. And so those are definitely themes that are coming up in my life at the moment, or have been in my life in the last year and a half particularly. And so it is kind of like a really nice way to check in and figure out what are the main lessons right now. And they've been different every time. There's always like some repeats, but it kind of gives me a little bit of it points me in the direction of maybe what I should focus on the daily as well. Some people ask, what does hypnosis feel like? And the truth is, it just kind of feels like a really deep meditation, very relaxing, kind of like after doing yoga and having, those 10 minutes where you're like kind of floating in and out. And that's kind of the headspace that we're in when we're doing these sessions. It's like connecting to the more dream worldy headspace, but you are completely aware of what's going on the whole time. It kind of feels like watching or going through a movie from two different perspectives. So you've got your thinking normal mind that's kind of chilling in the background, and sometimes it's like, what is this? And then you've got the other kind of dreamy experience that you're going through, that is just in the experience. But you're there and you have the whole situation in control. So if you were to ever feel overwhelmed, kind of thing where you could come out of it at your will, at your decision. But I have never had anyone who was overwhelmed in the situation. It's a very careful space, and all the like otherworldly guidance that watches over you is also watching over you in these situations. So I've never experienced a sense of overwhelm myself. And then what about afterwards? So integration is a super important step to this. It's important to drink a lot of water afterwards. It's important to journal, to kind of reflect on what happened. I really suggest drawing or writing or some form of using your your hands and kind of like bringing that experience into a physical form. That can be very helpful. And also listening to the recording. You receive a recording of the session afterwards, and it can be very helpful to listen to particularly the higher self part, where you don't have kind of imagery to connect the experience to, and you're just receiving answers. Going over the advice from your higher self is really good. I sometimes forget to do that, but when I do listen back, like there's some gold nuggets there that I wouldn't have been able to think of myself without having someone guide me through that space and really take the intentional time to receive the answers that I need for my life right now. But thank you for watching. That was my little video about frequently asked questions. And if you have any others, you're welcome to put them in the comment box. You can email me, and I am open to doing sessions in person or online. So thank you.